Hey there, just wanted to give a bit of an update. I've not really shot any substantial videos for a few weeks now, to be honest. And that's really because of the IT band injury that I have. And yeah, it's still very much ongoing. So 14th of July was really when my left IT band started kicking in, just on the outside of the left knee. Up until then, I had been doing a sort of weekly mileage. I'd built up to about 44 kilometres with a long run of 30 kilometres, and then been able to do a substantial sort of shorter run through the midweek. And sort of the week before the injury started, I had gotten up to my sort of goal distance for a long run, and I had got to a PB in my 10k and had bagged a couple of Strava segments. So I was really in a great place with running, and then this, pretty much out of nowhere, left IT band kicked in. So that's been pretty much 8 weeks. Not 8 happy weeks whatsoever. And it's not like I've stopped exercising, and I've not really stopped running either, although it hasn't been much fun. For a while, my runs were a couple of K, and the IT band would then kick in after 1 to 1.5 Ks, something like that. I'm now running 5K a couple of times a week, and it's still, I know I'm having to walk some of the hills because it very much still is kicking in. And just isn't comfortable run, and I'm not just happy to try and run through it at all. I don't want to push it too hard. I've been going to my yoga once a week. I have been going to my kickboxing once a week, and actually this week I did a couple extra kickboxing classes. So I'm still keeping fit and active, although my sort of peak cardio fitness that I had 8 weeks ago has certainly diminished because I'm just not getting as much base cardio work done. I've tried cycling and it causes the same sort of issues. So I mean it's evidenced in my resting heart rate. That was around 41, I would say, on average before the injury. It's now probably about 43. What else have I done? I've had some couple of goes of sports massage, which I think has helped a bit. I've spent some time with a PT and doing a bit of exercises there, and had some recommendations. A couple of times a week I am doing strength and conditioning work. None of these non-running, non-cycling activities really cause any pain in the legs, which is great. So I do feel the strength is not too bad. So what's my plan? Well, I will continue to do the strength and conditioning work. I'm going to continue to work on mobility. So just keep pushing sort of range of motion. One thing we've kind of found that the physical therapist found and my sports massage therapist found is, and it's very much echoing what has been said before, is my problems are very much hips. The muscles around the hips being too tight and effectively just pulling the IT band in a way that is causing pain lower down. So specifically that means my tensor fasciae lata, so TFL muscle, my glutes, so glute max, probably a bit of glute med as well. It's really just working that. So I've been doing a lot of work to strengthen those, but also kind of range of motion, got some specific exercises. I do feel things like the deep hip sort of rotation exercises and really do make a bit of a difference, but it still is tight. And that's probably one of the more interesting reflections that I've had about when I was injured. When I was running this big mileage, and I thought I was doing fine, and I ran the 30 kilometre distances, 2-3 weekends, and it felt fine. But I always kind of had tightness around TFL, around glute med, glute max. When I was doing it with the massage gun and stuff like that, there's always just a bit of tightness there. But it never really kind of stopped me. But I think that was probably an indication of overtraining, and yeah, that I had accumulated more fatigue than I potentially had appreciated. That's a key learning point for me, is just really honing in these muscle tightnesses, and don't just think because I can run through them that I should. I think I should have had a deload week. But I had this plan of get up to 30 kilometers, run that every week for 6 weeks, and then start adding in another run. And while I had slowly built up to the 30 kilometre mark and hadn't really exceeded the more than 10% increment every week, as is sort of the rule of thumb, I was so fixated in getting to that 30 kilometre mark that I just wasn't listening to some of the smaller signals in my body. I was thinking, yeah, I'm a bit sore when I'm doing these runs, but I'm doing them. So, and I'm almost at this 30 kilometre mark, and, I'm a bit sore, I'm doing it, I'll get there, and it'll become easier. And, I find it very difficult to say that I wouldn't make the same decision if in the same position again, if I'm honest. But that's what I think was really my downfall, is that I should have taken the signals of this kind of muscle soreness and gone, well, you got up to the 30 kilometre mark, great, let's have a deload week. And then I think, I wouldn't have had this problem. But, everything's great in hindsight, isn't it? So, that's my lesson to anyone else listening. If you're a new runner, really listen to those small signals. And if I'd taken a deload week, would I be in this situation now? There's no way to know. I could still have had the same problems, but there's a good chance that I might not have. I might have been able to just kind of keep going. I'm going to have a change in thinking and not just be chasing this 10% increment every week. What I'm going to do is I'm at 5k just now with a bit of walking. My plan is to just keep going at 5k until I'm able to run it pain-free. And once I can run it pain-free, I'll do at least 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks of just sticking to 5k, not pushing distance, and just really focus on running pain-free for a substantial block of time. I'll then step up the mileage, maybe 7k, 8k, so go more than a 10% increment, and we'll see how the pain is, but then stick at that for 4 weeks, and just keep working in these 4 week blocks, and maybe towards the end of them even make sure you're building a deload week, your sort of classic mesocycle work of a 3 week build period, a 1 week deload, or something like that. But just keep focusing on running pain-free and not incrementing the mileage until I am pain-free. And who knows how long it's going to take for me to get back up to the 30 kilometre mark. I really can't afford to be back in this position just on a regular basis. I have to do better at avoiding injuries, because it's not been fun. It's really, it's affected my mental health as much as anything, never mind my anaerobic endurance. I've really integrated running as a core part of my sense of self, my self-definition. I feel when I run, when I'm running comfortably, I'm in a state of grace, and to be out of that state of grace and to kind of not have access to that core part of me, it's really made me feel quite down at times. And although I said at the start when I was injured I was going to focus on the positives, I'm going to focus on the things I can do, I have found it tough. And while I've kept exercising and I have put in the work, it's that feeling of losing that empowerment I have, because it was like 30 kilometres, that's great. I never thought I was going to run 30 kilometres, and now I can't. now I can't run 5 kilometres without pain. So that taking away that feeling of empowerment has been hard. But I've just missed that long period of time on my feet. I have to say, I've really tried in the nutrition, but I have failed a bit. I mean, there's been some binge eating going on. I've put on at least 1.5 kilos over the 8 weeks that I shouldn't have done. But I'm taking steps now to address that, and I'm not going into massive deficit, but I'm just bringing things back under more control. It's good to be able to run the 5Ks, even if I'm doing a little bit of walking. There is a chink of light at the end of the tunnel. So for those of you suffering injuries like me, IT band injuries or whatever, pulled things, broken bits, then yeah, my heart goes out, and it's tough. I know most runners have injuries at some point in their running career, and a large proportion of runners have at any one time have an injury. So it's not fun. But we'll get back there. So I hope you're having a better time with your running than I am, and I look forward to posting some good news in the future about reducing my pain levels and doing better. Okay, take care, bye.